Ahmad's tale story. Like many children in that remote African village, Ahmed couldn't always go to school because there was no car to take the students to school. The nearest school was 3 kilometers from the village, so Ahmed often thought of dropping out of school, farming with his father instead. He loved farming, but he wished to complete his education and fulfill his dreams. Ahmed dreamt of being a doctor to treat the village patients. A lot of people there died from diseases that the village doctor was unable to identify. This was Ahmed's passion. He feared he would lose a loved one or a close friend. Ahmed was a very smart child. Despite his lack of attendance at school, he kept receiving good grades. But he experienced difficulties in attending school because the school was far away. Parents of affluent students built little donkeys for the students to ride to school, but there are only a few students, and some of them didn't agree to carry anybody with them. And even if some agreed to carry one of them, many other students wouldn't find any means of transport. After several months of suffering, Ahmed became desperate and left the school. He started farming with his father. His father saw his devotion and rewarded him with a daily allowance for his hard work. At the end of the day, he gave him a small sum of money, saying,
"You are a good child. You deserve more."
However, Ahmed's dream to become a doctor didn't disappear. During the dark nights, before sleeping in the courtyard of their small mud house, he kept looking at the sky for hours, praying to God to bless him by giving him what he wanted. He would then sleep to prepare for a new work day in the farm. One day, as he returned from the farm, he saw the water carriers carrying water on their shoulders. They were mighty men who brought water from far away and sold it to the villagers because there was no water well in the village. Therefore, the water carriers were affluent. Ahmed thought of leaving the farm and working with them to collect the money needed to buy a donkey. But he wasn't old enough to be able to carry heavy weights. An idea popped into his dreamy mind, and he was determined to implement it. But it needed money. Consequently, he decided that he wouldn't spend any penny until he accomplished what he wanted. Over the course of 2 months, Ahmed saved the money he received from his father with great care and didn't spend any of it except for dire needs. After collecting some money, he went to the market and bought 2 large empty barrels and a medium-sized bucket. Ahmed built a small store of mats in the courtyard of the house and put the 2 barrels there. He then asked his father for a holiday from work for a few days to try his new venture. His father willingly agreed. Next day, Ahmed went out early in the morning, knocking on the doors of all the villagers, asking the housewives not to throw away the used water. The women used to throw away water they used in washing dishes or any dirty water they had every evening. He told them that he would pay a certain amount of money for each bucket filled with water. As women admired this young, smart child, they told him to keep his money, as they would give him the water without taking anything from him. After a week of collecting water from the houses to fill the 2 barrels, Ahmed rented a donkey cart and loaded the 2 barrels on it. He then went to the construction workers who built houses offering to sell them the water in the barrels for half the price of the ordinary water. He said,
"This water is not drinkable, but it's good for construction work. You buy drinking water at a high price and use it to build houses. I will provide you with water at half the price."
The offer was good for the construction workers. They bought the 2 barrels of water at a good price, and Ahmad was able to buy 3 additional barrels. In a few months, Ahmad expanded his work and had to seek the help of his father, who welcomed this. Some young relatives asked to work with Ahmad, who happily agreed. In a short period of time, there was no more wasted water and no more mud puddles that destroyed the landscape and didn't look nice as a result of disposing the used water in the streets of the village. Ahmad never forgot his old dream, but he had to continue his education till the end. He had to rejoin school. Now he had the money and could buy a young donkey to drop him to school every day. Ahmed felt sad when he saw that most of the children in the village didn't have education. What can they do if they are ignorant? Not much good can be achieved if people are denied the right to education. Whenever Ahmed held any money in his hand, he used to say,
"What is the use of this if it doesn't benefit the people?"
He had a brilliant idea. He loved to do good to everyone, but he couldn't buy a donkey for every child. However, he could buy 3 donkeys and build a big cart, which 3 donkeys would pull to drop all the children of the village at school. His father wasn't educated, but he believed in his son's capabilities. When Ahmed discussed the idea of the cart with him, he replied,
You are a good boy. Do whatever you think is right, and I will back you up.
Within a few weeks, Ahmed had prepared a big cart pulled by 3 donkeys and labeled it Student Mass Transportation. The students seemed so happy with this large cart. Some of them thought of dropping out of school, but when they remembered the happy moments they spent in the cart with the other children, they hurried to wear their school uniform and wait by the door for the car to arrive. After a few years, there was no child in the village who wasn't registered at the school. All those who tasted the sweetness of education and knowledge prayed for Ahmed day and night, and thus his life was blessed. Ahmed traveled to the capital city to obtain his university degree, to achieve his dream and become a successful doctor to treat the poor villagers and assist his father in farming and earning a decent living. Just as Ahmed had dreamt, he became an excellent physician and returned to his village to open his free clinic there. Whenever Ahmed walked towards his clinic in the morning, he saw the big cart he had made to transport the children to school, free of charge. But this time, it wasn't only 1, but 3 carts, one behind the other. Ahmed used to raise his hand to greet the children, who waved back to him with joy. As for selling water, it stopped completely. Ahmed managed to collect plenty of money from the affluent people of the village, after sitting with them and convincing them to donate as a waqf part of their money to dig a water well. Ahmed suggested that all the young men of the village work on this well and manage it with their own hands to water their fields. and provide them with drinkable water. So that water was no longer sold in the village, as it's essential for life.
قطوف الخير series. Greeting from Kuwait Awqaf Public Foundation.